Now, of course, Halloween is coming up, and it may not be obvious what we're looking at right here, but Miles, of course, he won't be happy with a dinosaur costume or a ghost outfit, so we asked him what he wanted to be because they're going to have a Halloween party at his preschool, and he was pretty emphatic. He said, I want to be a coaster train. Now, a coaster train is a train that runs along California border, very colorful, blue and green. And so what I decided to do is, and it was something I really thought through a lot before I actually did it. I put a lot of time into thinking how I could do this with cardboard. So the first step was to run down to BJ's and get some white cardboard. They give this away, of course. It was their Halloween candy display. They were throwing it away. I needed to measure up and see just about what size would be appropriate for this, because if you make it too big or too small, it kind of defeats the purpose of it. And it's basically like making a custom cardboard box in the very beginning. Looks a lot easier than it is. And it took me several tries to get this to where I was happy with it, because I wanted to capture the shape of the train, which has a little bit of a point in the front. And I wanted to put windows, and I wanted to put wheels and whatnot on it. So the first step, and this was the most critical thing, is I had to get the box made. And here you can see I had to make sure it was not too big that his head would stick out. And then we decided, after we played around for a while, we wanted his arms to stick out too. And several people had sent me pictures of various similar things, Halloween costumes, but because Miles is a certain size, I know this had to be a certain size. So at this point, if it was too big or too small, I would just start all over again. But I decided, Karen downloaded some pictures of the various coaster trains, and the colors are important. They're bright blue and bright green, and they have some fancy writing on the side, which I had a little idea how I could do that too. And the most important thing is I wanted to keep it simple and fun. I laid out the wheels with using the tape as a pattern. And because this is probably something that's only going to get used once or twice, I don't want to spend my whole life on it. But what happens with every project I work on, it takes on a life of its own. And I start inventing things and start adding things and start finding some way. I used up so much hot glue on this project that we had to go get some more hot glue. But eventually, I wanted to get it framed out to the point where I was kind of happy with it. And then halfway through, I thought, gee whiz, you know, I have some silver wheel paint, and I decided let's go a little more than just having kids paint. Let's make the things real silver and bright shiny silver. Well, that worked out okay. And I wanted to cut out the windows in similar, but we're not making a scale model, just something that the baby would have some fun with. Now, really, I laugh about it, but he would have been, if he wanted to be a motorcycle, we would have been easy, because I have Luciano's fairings sitting here. I could have just duct taped the fairings to him, and then he could have been a Ducati, but didn't work out that way. Anyway, I realized early on the cardboard was thin in spots, so I had to make some balsa wood reinforcements. Luckily, we have an unlimited supply of balsa here. I also thought it would be cool, since we get these Harbor Freight flashlights. Every time we go to Harbor Freight, I get at least 2. So that'd be cool, and the baby loves to play with these. So what I did, I put it in the nose to make an on-off flashlight. Well, and here you can see what happened up to this point. The silver wheels looked okay before the detailing. Karen had some ideas about stuff that she could put. She had some fake plastic that was sticky on one side. We could make windows. The light turned out to be the best feature of the whole thing, because the baby loves turning this light on and off. And in fact, he went out on a porch with it at night. He was running up and down a porch with the thing, so I know this is going to be a lot of fun for him. So what happened at this point is I thought, well, you know what, I may as well spend the extra time, because Halloween's still 2 weeks away, basically, or maybe a little less. But I had time to do some more work on it that I normally wouldn't have done. I was going to keep it bare bones simple, and I decided, well, nothing ever starts out bare bones simple here. We had all the paint. I had a custom mix the paint to match the coaster train, tape off the stripes, which were a defining feature of it. mask off the wheels. Everything was done with masking tape, and I used a couple rolls of tape in the process, and I thought, wow, I'm spending a lot of time on this. But you know what? When I saw how every time the baby would be here, this went over the course of about a week. Every time I saw that the baby would just run over to this thing, pick it up, and push it around. And I thought, you know, even after Halloween, he'll have something to push around, I guess. I don't know. Or what else he could do with it, other than the obvious stuff. Put it on the railroad tracks when the train comes, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, again, what happened is the headlight being turning on and off, even when it was here, before it was really finished, it turned out to be something the baby was really attracted to. And this is the single-sided, I call it glass. It's plastic that you laminate driver's licenses in and stuff. And we made windows with that. Again, we're trying to keep it simple. It's a fun project, and you know, but I keep going back to that thing of every time I'd see how excited he was about having this, that I just couldn't resist spending more time. Now, I would have been in the very beginning been real happy to leave it just like this, but of course that never happens. So I spent a little more time around the wheels, putting some details in, took some little pads to make the wheels look a little more three-dimensional. Every time I do something to it, then I decided I had some white vinyl I was going to use for other projects. I decided to make the straps out of white vinyl using the embroidery machine we just started using. And this embroidery machine, of course, we've used on other motorcycle seats and stuff. But it's funny, I'm looking back at this. The reason this doesn't have a cover on it is I've had to take it apart twice. The desmodromic valves keep popping on this, and I don't know why. Probably something's out of adjustment. But anyway, it is fun to use this, and you can just create things on the fly, and you can make them all different sizes. Obviously, every color thread you can buy. We found a place that thread was 25 cents a spool, and I bought 20 things of different thread I might want to use. And you can see I can make little letters, miles, and whatever. But the nice thing is this vinyl wound up making some really nice comfortable straps, because these straps, and it has coaster, of course we wanted to use that. When I laid out the strapping here, and I had it marked, we were originally going to make this out of material, and I thought, this will be a little more durable, because I have a feeling when he takes this to his preschool, the kids are going to sit on it and jump on it and whatever. But anyway, I trimmed out all these little extras that I made, and even his name, and it was just detailing I could add here. You can see it's on the straps. So that added a nice little detail to it. The extra ones I used to make the word coaster, which is not exactly scale, but for this kind of a thing, it's plenty good. And this is like the ongoing saga of how this played out. So again, we had a day the baby was here, and he picked it up and played with it, and he pushed it around, and he did whatever. And it just turned out that every time he'd play with it, I'd get another idea of something I could do. Now, in this case, I'm sorry I didn't put real wheels on it, because he loves to push it around. Now, even these trains, these Thomas the Train that you see here, he loves to push him around. Well, this day his mom was over here, and Grammy was helping him decide that we wanted to take a couple pictures of it and see if it fit him. And it's something that, as this is going along, I just try to figure the adjustment on the straps to get it to sit straight. It needed a little bit of weight in the back to sit straight, but again I thought, well, you know, this is going to be something that we have to see when he goes door to door. Of course, we're going to take him door to door here in our neighborhood. And he seemed to enjoy that last year. He had a little polar bear costume. But the thing that made this all come together was this headlight. I bet he turned this headlight on and off 1,000 times in the course of doing this. And he just never got sick of it, no matter, and this is what he loved, as well as the obvious thing that he can take it and use it at his preschool. He just loves pushing this thing around, and we took it upstairs, downstairs, on the rugs, on the floor, wherever he had it. it just amazed me. And this is another thing. He loved getting in it, getting out of it, getting in it, as well as I think what he's going to wind up doing is wanting to sit in it. But again, we took it upstairs in the house later on, and he kept wanting to take it up the stairs, and I couldn't figure out what he was trying to do. Well, it was pretty obvious. What he wanted to do is take it upstairs where the hardwood floors are, and just basically push it around. So, okay, he finally wore me down to a nub, and I said, okay, let's take it upstairs. And of course, Karen had to get the camera and get this picture of me wearing the thing. And as soon as I put the Halloween costume on, of course, they're getting him an engineer's hat and a bandana and everything, but she said how good I looked, that I should go trick-or-treating this year. You know, I could be a coaster train too, but I guess Luciano would look pretty good in this too. But anyway, now we found another thing he loves to do. He loves to push it around on the hardwood floors, but the wheels are just made out of cardboard, so I think eventually they're not gonna stand the test of time. But knowing what I know now, I should have made real wheels for it, or just bought some wheels. And then this saga went on. It was late in the night. He went out on the porch with it, up and down the porch, when it was dark, playing with that headlight. I'm so glad I put that headlight on. That headlight just made the project so much better than if he didn't have the headlight. And it's on again, off again, on again, off again. And of course, the final thing is we had to find some place to store it now, between now and Halloween, until we can get some video of him going trick-or-treating. But it was a fun project, basically no money, and a lot of days of fun.